Okay, so picture this. A company that failed so badly its first time trying to enter the US market, it had to literally pack up and leave. A company that, back in 1950, was so close to bankruptcy it couldn't even pay its own people. And yet, every single one of these crises became a secret ingredient to its global dominance. You see, this isn't just the story of a car company. It's a 90-year masterclass in turning total disaster into a competitive advantage. And it all really comes down to one big question. How did a moment of near total failure create a system so efficient, so revolutionary, that it's still being copied today by pretty much everyone, from Boeing to Amazon? Figuring that out, well, that's how you really get what Toyota is all about. To get there, we've got to go way back. And we're not starting in a garage or on a factory floor. Nope, we're starting with textiles. You see, before Toyota ever built an engine, its founder, Sakichi Toyoda, was busy perfecting Japan's first powered loom. He was completely obsessed with efficiency and quality. So check this out. When the family's car company was officially created in 1937, they made this really interesting choice. They changed the name from the family name, Toyota, to Toyota. So why'd they do that? Well, because Toyota takes 8 brushstrokes to write in Japanese. And, you guessed it, 8 is considered a lucky number. This little detail, this early focus on symbolism, was a real sign of things to come. Now, where did the money to start a car company even come from? You're not going to believe it. The entire car company was basically born from one single deal. Sakichi Toyoda sold the patent for his automatic loom to a British company for £100,000. That cash, earned from textiles, was the seed money for what would become a global automotive empire. And from there, man, things moved fast. An automotive division pops up in 1933, the first prototype rolls out just 2 years later in 1935, and by 1937, the Toyota Motor Company was officially its own thing. The foundation was set, but the company's real identity? Well, that was about to be forged in fire. All right, this next part of the story, it's absolutely pivotal. See, after World War II, Japan's economy was in shambles, and by 1950, Toyota was teetering right on the edge of collapse. This crisis, this moment of near death, became the crucible that created the company we all know today. I mean, we are talking broke, like can't even pay your workers broke. The situation was so bad, it forced a complete reinvention, not from some fancy business school textbook, but from sheer desperate necessity. Survival was the only thing on the agenda. And out of that absolute chaos came this, the Toyota Production System, or TPS. Today, it's the most studied manufacturing philosophy in history, but back then, it was just a set of rules for survival. The main idea was simple: hunt down and eliminate every single bit of waste and build quality in from the very first step. And it all stands on 2 honestly brilliant pillars. First up is just in time. You only make what you need exactly when you need it. No more wasteful piles of inventory sitting around. And second, judoka, which you can think of as automation with a human touch. It basically means that any worker, anyone, can stop the entire production line if they spot a problem. This prevents a single mistake from ever becoming a bigger mess. So with this new philosophy starting to work, Toyota gets ambitious again. They looked outward toward the biggest prize of all, the American market. And their first attempt? Oh boy, it was a complete and total disaster. In 1958, Toyota launched this car called the Toyopet Crown in the US. It was probably fine for Japan, but on American highways, it was dangerously slow and it was always overheating. The product was just completely wrong for the market. But here's the Toyota magic, right? Instead of packing up and going home, they treated this epic failure as free market research. So after years of studying American roads, American drivers, you name it, Toyota came back in 1966. And this time, they had the Corolla. This wasn't just a new car. It was the direct answer to everything they learned from that first failure. It was literally built to win in America. And win? Oh, it did. The Corolla went on to become the best-selling car in human history, with over 55 million of them sold. I mean, think about that. They turned their most embarrassing failure into their most staggering success. And, you know, this whole learn from disaster thing, it didn't just stop in the 60s. It got baked right into Toyota's DNA. And it's a pattern we see again and again, right into the modern era as the company had to deal with the challenges of being number one. For instance, back in 2010, they had a massive recall crisis that forced them to completely overhaul and strengthen their quality control all over the world. Then, just a year later in 2011, a devastating tsunami completely wiped out their supply chain. What was their response? They rebuilt it to be the most resilient in the entire industry. And here's the payoff. Fast forward a decade to 2021. Remember that global chip shortage that crippled basically every other automaker? Well, Toyota just kept building. And why? Because those painful lessons from the 2011 tsunami taught them to stockpile critical parts. A crisis from the past gave them a massive competitive advantage in a crisis of the future. So what does all this history of resilience mean for right now? As the entire auto industry faces its biggest disruption ever, the shift to electric vehicles. Well, Toyota, true to form, is charting its own unique and pretty controversial path. Under their former CEO, Akio Toyoda, the company basically decided they were tired of making boring, reliable appliances. The new focus became passion, design, and the actual joy of driving, to make sure their cars connected with people on a whole other level. And that thinking led to their multipathway strategy. You see, while most of their rivals are going all in on just battery electric cars, Toyota is investing in everything: hybrids, plug-in hybrids, battery electric, and even hydrogen. A lot of critics say they're just hedging their bets, but Toyota calls it being realistic for a very diverse global market. But, and this is the hidden ace, while it looks like they're being cautious on the EVs we have today, Toyota holds more patents for the next generation of solid-state batteries than any other automaker on the planet. So their strategy might not be about being behind. It might be about waiting for the perfect moment to leapfrog the entire industry. Which really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? When you look at a 90-year history of turning crisis into strength and patience into power, is Toyota's multipathway approach to the electric future a stroke of patient genius? Or is it a dangerous delay in a race that's moving faster every day? What do you think?